Capablanca's incredible attack leads to a smothered checkmate, a possible smothered checkmate in this match. So Capablanca is playing with the white pieces here, and Hermanis is playing with the black pieces here. So after knight to c3, this is the queen's gambit, and after bishop to f, so this is the Nimzo Indian defense. The classical variation of the Nimzo Indian defense is being played right now. So c5 is played by Hermanis, attacking the central d4 pawn, and the pawn captures the pawn, and the knight comes to c6, not looking to capture the pawn immediately, black. So knight to f3, a development move, developing the knight, and the pawn is captured back by Hermanis now, and the bishop goes to f4, activating it along this open dark square diagonals, and the pawn push to d5 happens, attacking the c4 pawn, and Kaba just pushes e3, supporting the pawn which is just attacked with his light square bishop, and also activating the bishop so that you can castle on the king side as well. Queen now comes to a5 here, pinning the knight over here, and the bishop goes to e2, and a development move, basically looking to castle on the king side, and bishop to b4 now attacking that knight pin knight twice, and Kappa basically castles as of the 10th move. Bishop captures the knight, and the pawn captures back. Kappa didn't want a queen exchange so early in the game, and then Hermanis castles on the king side as well. Rook now comes to b1 on the semi-open b file as of the 12th move. The rooks are active, and the queen comes to a3 here. A better move would have been to capture the pawn, but that will also activate this bishop. The bishop can capture back, and you can place the bishop on looking at, will be the bishop basically looking at this big f7 square, which is protected will be protected neatly by this e6 pawn right now. So after that, the other rook now comes. The rook x will come to d1, and also activating it on the semi-open d file. Now both rooks are active, and pawn is now pushed to b6, looking to fianchet this bishop, and also it limits this, the activity of this rook as well, and any threats on that back b7 pawn on the 7th rank. So after that, the c into d5, the pawns are captured, and the knight captures the pawn back, and now there is a double attack on this particular pawn over here, and bishop, instead of going for that protecting this bishop, Kaba just plays knight to g5 here, threatening checkmate over here. It's a good move, when your opponent are trying to capture your pieces, you can create a counter threat and get away for one move. So to counter it, f5 is played, blocking the queen's view. Also, it will allow your rook to activate, but in this context, playing g6 was better in this particular position, but that was not played, and the bishop goes to f3 now, and the queen goes back to c5 now, trying to get back in there. But a better move was to play this h6 move, pushing this knight away. Knights and bishops near your king are pretty threatening. You should try to, as a thumb rule, just try to get rid of pieces which are on your side of the board. So h6 was not played, and c4 by Kappa, attacking the knight, and the knight goes to b4. So a better move was to capture this bishop on f4 over here, but knight went to attack the queen, and queen goes to b3 here, keeping it on an x-ray on the king. So a natural move would have been to play h6, or to get your king away from this dangerous x-ray attack, because once these pawns are moved, then you could be in trouble basically, and that's exactly what happened in the game. And to make matters worse, Hermanis plays e5 here. The better move was to place this h6. Now the only thing that that you need to create this attack is basically for the queen to move. So the queen to move, you can actually to do that, you first have to push this knight away, because this knight is supporting this knight. So the pawn push to a3 does that, and the knight goes to a6, and now this allows basically allows the capture of this particular knight. So a better move was to push your pawn over here, not going for the capture, and attacking this bishop. Then you will be forced to move the bishop, otherwise it could be get captured, and you will have a pawn entering your king pawn and the second rank as well. So now Kappa plays bishop captures c6, and Hermanis resigns the game, because After the queen captures, the pawn will be pushed like this, and it will be a check. And because it's a check, you cannot capture this pawn. And if the king moves away like this, then after knight to f7 check, and if the king comes back here, there will be a discovered check. It's a double check. You are checking with your knight and with your queen, so you cannot block the check. So the king had to move again, and then queen will go to g8 with a check, and you cannot capture with your king here because of the knight here. The knight is also supporting this uh, queen over here, and once the rook captured, the knight goes here to f7, and it's a smothered checkmate on the board. So here, even in this position, if you try to capture with your rook, it will be still checkmate because it creates this back rank threat, and there is no escape square for this king to go into, and that's why this h6 move was suggested earlier. And after the rook goes in, the sacrificial move, the game will be pretty much over. The only way you can enhance or extend the game will be to after the basically, so instead of moving the king away, you could block with your bishop like this. So if you block like this, the knight will capture, and once the pawn is captured, you can capture the knight back. And once that, you will be up by at least one piece. You can capture once the king move away. You can move the knight, and your bishop will be gone, but you'll be up by a piece, and that will be it. So that's the game. So I would like to go with this particular checkmate. Basically, the game ended as of this particular 20th move. I would like to see this model checkmate happen as any chess lover. So thanks very much for watching. We'll be back with more such videos.